All right, so we now have successfully connected with our last speaker before our break. Dax Hansen is the owner of Oatman Flats Ranch, which is the first regenerative and organic certified farm in the Southwest. Located in Arizona, Dax grows drought-tolerant and in some cases perennial crops and uses agroforestry techniques to help regenerate the degraded farmland, restore water equilibrium, and sequester carbon.
Thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here. I'm probably a little bit of an atypical participant here, but I care a lot about the Southwest, family farming in the Southwest, and water issues. And I've been dealing with the aridification of the region for a number of years. We're at ground zero of the hot spots and the climate change in the Southwest. About 30 miles west of Gila Bend along the Gila River, in between Phoenix and Yuma. So today I'm just going to give you a bit of an overview of Oatman Flats Ranch, the practices that we're employing, things that we're testing out there, and the success that we're having, really commenting on three topics of stewardship, really caring about the land, using regenerative agriculture and drought-resistant crops, to do more with less water and with hotter temperatures, and also to just give a few comments about market development, which I think also is a critical component of making farming adapted to the time and space that we have, dealing with the water scarcity and aridification. So we have essentially a photograph of what Oatman Flats Ranch looked like in 1852. This is a painting made from a sketch from the U.S. Boundary Surveyor John Russell Bartlett, coming through looking at Oatman Flats Ranch, and he really made a series of sketches from this area. The one on the left looking essentially west down the Gila River, and the one on the right looking northeast, upstream of the Gila River. And of course, it was running back then, the Gila River was, and we didn't have invasive species. This is what it looks like today, mapping those photos together. This is what a farm looks like after being conventionally farmed for many years, and then having the water shortages kick in and having a farm be basically abandoned. My family has been farming here since the 50s. People have been living and farming in this area for 3,000 years, but everything you can think of that happened in the Old West happened on this farm in this area. But with the river not running, the ground tables dropping, the wells breaking and being difficult to repair and expensive to repair, this family farm fell into disrepair. I stepped in 2019 and started to employ new techniques to try to deal with the glaring problem of hotter temperatures, drier soil, less water. Even the salt cedar and the mesquite that normally can grow in this area are dying pretty significantly. So I turned to at the time, brand new standard called Regenerative Organic Certification that was developed by the Rodell Institute and Patagonia, and also Dr. Bronner's, where they adopted a whole new set of practices for farming to take care of soil health and animal welfare and worker fairness. This is the highest standard of farming that I'm aware of, and we set out to become certified and to employ all of these different techniques to try to repair that land, really from a perspective of stewardship. You saw the paintings. I don't want to lose Oatman Flats Ranch on my watch. I want others to be able to enjoy it for generations to come. So we became the first farm to Regenerative Organic Certified in the Southwest United States. We join still a fairly small group, but of illustrious farmers around the country and increasingly around the country. We have employed various regenerative techniques, sort of summarized in these tiles here, of going from pretty sterile soil without any organic material, no cover crops, no moisture retention, and started planting cover crops using no-till practices, um, uh, and focusing on biodiversity and other techniques. And you can see how we're able to start building up the soil health and seeing the biological activity that's happening subsurface, really focusing on the improvement of the ecosystem as a whole, and focusing on low water consuming crops like the white Sonora wheat, which the Spanish brought to the Southwest region and in Mexico about 300 years ago. Is something that has been adapted to the hot temperatures, the salty water, the salty soil, the barren soil, drought-like conditions, and a crop like that can actually thrive. So that's been our focus, using regenerative practices and low water consuming crops, which by the way taste great and make amazing whiskey and other products, that compared to the other crops that are standard in the region, like alfalfa, for instance, maybe in corn, we are able to save upwards of 5 acre-feet of water per acre. And so we have just some calculation about the amount of water that these sort of practices save versus trying to grow those thirstier crops. And so pretty significant water savings per acre. With these regenerative practices employed, this is what the farm has looked like recently. For the trained eye, you can see quite a bit of improvement over the first photograph from 2019. You can see that there's a lot of areas that still look uncovered. There's been a lot of conservation cover that's been planted, but without the monsoon rains, those were slower to grow. But I'm happy to report that those are starting to take root as well, and we have a lot more coverage in the area. This is the North Farm. Oatman Flats Ranch is 665 acres total, straddling the Gila River. This is the North Farm. Those fields that have cover crops in them now are the wheat fields. This is the South Farm, also wheat fields, and this is looking west. On the ground, these are conservation native crops that we planted. When you put the native species back in, even the birds, for instance, brought all of this mesquite to the area, and so we do have basically desert silvopasture permaculture in this area with lots of life. The fields in the background, we have a biodiverse selection, actually several different selections of cover crops that are meant to keep the ground covered and to shade out some of the Bermuda grass. We were working with the University of Arizona to select these particular cover crops, see what works best with building the soil health, and what can help us employ no-till practices in the face of significant weed pressure. Here we have introduced our friends, some sheep, into these fields because at least we've reached the conclusion that there's no way to organically and to farm chemical-free organically with no-till and to compete with the grass just on our own. And so, but rather than fighting the grass and the weeds, we believe that there is a very appropriate way of introducing livestock into the area, fattening them up, giving them regenerative feed to eat, and also allowing us to get the Bermuda grass under control and still maintain our no-till practices. All of these techniques are described in a comprehensive resource management plan that we've developed, and we have many stakeholders from government agencies, academics, commercial organizations, archaeologists, the indigenous organizations to look at both on-farm activity, and we have a grazing allotment around the area where, for instance, we can help slow down the water and erosion off the mountains and to bring more water into the region. On the markets topic, we decided to take control of our own destiny and to create a premium line of consumer packaged goods that use our wheat and eventually other ingredients. These are products that are available online in Amazon and grocery stores in Arizona. And with a premium product like this, we're actually able to capture the cost of goods for farming with regenerative practices, which would frankly be impossible if we were going to sell our products just on the commodity market at the commodity price. Those are the pancakes, these are the bread mixes. Through our efforts, we've gained some fans, including a world-renowned chef, Chris Bianco, who is based in Phoenix. He's tributed for elevating pizza, and the Netflix Chef's Tables pizza series profiles him in the first episode, and Chris was kind enough to include us in his episode, where you can see a little bit of Oatman Flats Ranch and the wheat that we grow and the interest that we are able to attract from chefs in the area. And here are a few others, some folks from Arizona Wilderness Brewery, that's Chris and Marco Bianco, Brad Kent, who founded Blaze Pizza and runs Bagel and Slice, and a few others who have put these products on their menu. So I think that working with chefs and local restaurants, people who care about health and regenerative agriculture is a way for us to build the markets for regenerative agriculture, including regenerative agriculture that uses significantly less water. And that's the end. Thank you.